Hey guys, I hope everybody's having a good Monday night or whatever you're having. I don't know what time it is where you are. I hope uh, I hope life is being sweet to you. I think uh, I think one of the tricks to being to surviving this ordeal is finding things to be grateful for. I'm looking for things to be grateful for right now. I mean, I do have quite a few things to be grateful for. I'm just think you know making the effort of thinking about them at the moment. What are you grateful for? Well, in order to have a positive outlook on life, you must choose to have a positive outlook on life, right? And I have quite a positive outlook on life. I'm just having a bad day. Hey, Brendan, I appreciate the joke. Don't gang stalk me now. What's up, Raymond? How's it going? How are you guys? I had a couple of things I wanted to talk about. I can only remember one of them right now. You have to? You have to gang stalk me? What do you mean? Um, hey, if Jesus is for me, how's it going? How are you? Ah, I wanted to talk about uh there's a video I just saw. Apparently there's a oh man, you guys are gonna you guys are gonna love this because most of you don't live in Canada, so you're gonna love hearing about this because it's not yet happening. It's not yet happening where you are, but it is happening in Canada. You guys are gonna love to hear about this story. I mean, I'm being sarcastic here. It's bad news, is what I'm saying. When I heard about it, uh, I heard about it yesterday, and I saw a video about it yesterday, and it was nonsensical to me. And then somebody in one of my group chats on TikTok sent it. No, it was me actually. No, somebody on TikTok. I can't remember who it was exactly, but somebody I chat with on TikTok sent it to me, and I rewatched it, and I was just like, "That's a law in Canada? Like that can happen?" And yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna come out with it. Walaikum salam, Gracie. Walaikum salam. Peace be with you as well. Peace be upon you as well, upon you and your family. So, the news out of Canada, I was watching this video of this guy that was in his car. He was getting arrested. And he was getting arrested. He was filming himself. And the police officer told him that, this is a regular guy. I mean, he's being very calm. He's he looks Caucasian. Um, very handsome looking fella. It looks to be in his mid 20s, perhaps early 20s. Very well put together. I mean, the guy looks like like an Abercrombie and Fitch model or something like that. I mean, he's a handsome looking fellow, and he's speaking very coherently, calmly. He seems quite intelligent as well. and he just seemed to be very confused by what the police officer was telling him. And I'm going to show you the video after I talk about it. I'm going to show it to you because I think you need to see it. I think we all do. Now, the police officer stops him and tells him that he is being summoned by a psychiatrist. Now, this psychiatrist is someone that he knows, and the psychiatrist allegedly saw him at a coffee shop, didn't talk to him, just saw him and thought to herself that he was not well. So she went to go speak to his family, and the general consensus was that he is not well. So he's being, um, what is the term? $51.50. He's being $51.50. Basically, the police stopped him while he was driving to tell him that his psychiatrist spoke to his family after seeing him at a coffee shop. And the consensus of this psychiatrist and the family is that he has to be held in a mental institution for evaluation. Now, there was no altercation. There was nothing, there was nothing going on that made it seem like this guy had anything strange or worth investigating going on. As you can guess, my assessment of the situation is that he's a gang stalking victim and his family's in on it, or at least some of his family members are in on it. And as the police officer is explaining everything to him and sort of stumbling on his words, the guy says, well, the other officer I just spoke to told me that I can call you and make an appointment and show up. And we'll do that. I just don't want to have this interaction at this moment. And the police officer just told him, well, because I have a feeling like you're not going to show up for that appointment, I'm arresting you today. And he told him to stop filming, as if filming was illegal, You're well within your right to film all interactions with the police, and you probably should. And the truth is, here's the first thing about interactions with the police. First thing is, don't talk to them. They're not your friends. They're not here to help you. I don't know if you're confused about that. I had a conversation with someone a couple of days ago, another targeted individual who's I'm not gonna name her, but she has like a lot of followers, and I was having a conversation with her, and she was telling me how she finds it unbelievable that the police would participate in this, and the police are not only they're not helping, but they're participating in this, and there's so much corruption. And she was saying how she grew up believing that the police were the good guys. And I'm a black man. I've never really seen the police as the good guys. I've also never had any interactions with police that were strange or negative. For the most part, I would say that the police have treated me very fairly. But I also understand that, I say the police has treated me very fairly. I've had very little interaction with the police. I've had one police officer stop me because I made an illegal left turn once, downtown Montreal. I couldn't see the sign because the sun was in my face, was beaming in my face. I was on my way to school because I was going to school downtown at the time. And he just kind of gave me like a stern talking to. He gave me a pile of shit, is the truth, but he didn't give me a ticket, which I thought was really nice. Um, and then I had another interaction with a police officer that I used to go to high school with, and he gave me a ticket for an illegal U-turn, which, I made the illegal U-turn. I was lost. I was looking for I was about to give a class to a client. I was a dog trainer at the time. I mean, I still am. I train, I'm a dog trainer. Um, and I made an illegal U-turn because I was lost, and he could have given me a much bigger ticket because my insurance was not expired, but the card I was holding for my insurance was expired. So he basically just said, look, the illegal U-turn you just did is, a higher um, ticket and a more expensive ticket, and there's also points that will be deducted. But I'm just gonna give you something like I'm gonna give you a ticket for expired insurance, and I thought that was cool. And then I had two more interactions where I was caught speeding, or well, speeding. I mean, I was caught driving above the limit, but I had just moved, so I didn't know the speed limits in a new neighborhood I was in. So I definitely was above the limit, but I wasn't doing anything crazy. I was doing, I think it was like a 30-kilometer um, zone, like a school zone. But I believe I was doing maybe 40 kilometers or 45, something like that, which seems like a lot if you're thinking about miles per hour, because it's like if it's 30 miles and you're doing 50, you're going crazy. But it's not the same. Like 60 miles is 100 kilometers. So I was doing 40 and a 30, but I also didn't know it was a school zone because I had never been in that neighborhood before. And these are, all the interactions I had with cops that were noteworthy. Uh, you know, Anyways, the point I'm making, I'm sorry for going on a tangent. The point I'm making is that this man seemed perfectly normal. I mean, you could not stray, you could not get closer to normalcy and sanity than this young fella. And he was 5150 because a psychiatrist saw him at a coffee shop. That's what she said. That's what the cop said. The cop said the psychiatrist saw him at a coffee shop and took it upon herself to contact his family. And the family, along with the psychiatrist, together came to the consensus that he needed to go on an involuntary psychiatric hold. And he was arrested. I'm waiting very patiently to see the follow up from his story because this is absolutely nuts. And yeah, I mean, if I can give any piece of advice to anyone, I don't I'm gonna inform myself on what you should do if you're getting 5150. My guess is you know probably shut up nonetheless. Um, but when it comes to talking to police or when it comes to dealing with police, especially in situations where you feel like you might be getting targeted, I would definitely say don't talk to them. Anything you say can and will be used against you. Don't talk to them. And a lot of times when they're talking to you, they're really trying to trip you up and trick you and get you to say something that they can use against you, right? Um, you know, and furthermore, one of the more important things when it comes to dealing with police officers, and I'm gonna get back to the point I was making with the lady I was talking to, but one of the most important things you need to remember about police officers is it is legal for them to lie to you. It is illegal for you to lie to them. It is completely legal for them to lie to you. If you're engaging in a conversation where it is legal for them to lie to you, but if you lie to them, you can get criminal charges, This is not a good faith conversation. You are entering into a conversation that you will probably regret. I mean, more than likely, and not even more than likely, you're entering into a conversation that you will eventually regret having. So don't have it. One thing about police officers is you don't have to talk to them. You don't have to, and you shouldn't. Your lawyer, you know, should, or you should talk to them with the guidance of your lawyer. But if everything you say can and will be used against you, and lying to them is can lead to criminal charges, what is there to say? Nothing is the answer. So, but yeah, I was talking to this targeted individual who has quite a following. I mean, she has hundreds of thousands of followers on Instagram. And I was talking to her lately, and she was saying how, you know, I can't believe that the police are not helping me, and they seem to be participating in this ordeal, in this crime. It is a crime. And as a black person, like I said, I've never had, um, any sort of blurry vision when it comes to police officers. Again, not because I've had negative encounters with the police. I have not. But because I know who was spraying down, civil rights movement activists with water hose. I know who was sicking dogs on them. I know who was beating them. It wasn't kindergarten teachers. It was police officers. They were fighting for civil rights. They were fighting, like, hey, we would like to be able to go to the same restaurants you go to. We would like to be able to drink from the same water fountains as you do. We would like to be able to buy homes in the same neighborhoods you buy homes. Could we possibly be treated as humans? May we have the right to vote as well? I mean, we pay taxes. Can we vote? And the police were like, shut up. So, you know, like I said, I haven't had any, negative encounters with police. I mean, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that I've had negative encounters with police, but, you know, name one time, name one time where police officers were standing with the people fighting tyranny. I will wait. Can anyone, there's 13 of you in here right now. Can anyone here name me one time, one, where the police fought alongside the people against tyranny? Or can you only think of the opposite scenario where the police stood with tyrannical government powers? I'll wait. Uh, how long until people wake up to this mental health thing they push on truth tellers? Well, there's worse. There's much worse. If you look at John Kiriakou, John Kiriakou was an ex-CIA officer who became a whistleblower on the CIA's torture program in Guantanamo Bay. And he said it best, none of the people who participated in this illegal torture program, because torture is illegal. Yeah, none of the people who participated in this torture program, none of the people who signed off on it, none of the people who knew about it, none of the people who created it went to prison. But John Kiriakou went to prison for almost 2 years because he whistle blew on an illegal government operation. So when will people wake up? Not soon. Probably not soon. I would like it. I would like if it was soon. Uh, Probably not. Fell short just now. What do you mean fell short? She's a wizard. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I don't know about wizardry, but that psychiatrist is definitely on. I mean, uh, she's on somebody's payroll. Can you believe that someone would go to a coffee shop, see someone, and then go, "I'm gonna contact his family. I think he's not doing well." I mean, what an unbelievable story. And I'm telling you, the guy seemed perfectly fine. I went through his Instagram page. I'm looking. He seems to be into fashion. He looks like a perfectly normal guy. I mean, I could understand if it was like he's out standing in the street, shaking a tin cup, and he seems to be, high or something or inebriated. I could understand being worried about him. Maybe not 5150ing him, but being worried about him. But he seemed like a perfectly normal fella. He seemed like a perfectly healthy young fella. She saw him at a coffee shop. I mean, she went out of her way. She's not getting paid for. She's not getting paid for this. Um, she was not. It was not during work hours. She was at a coffee shop. She saw him. She just so happened to go to the same coffee shop that he was going to. At the same time, he was going to it. And it just so happened that she knew his family. So she decided to contact his family. All right. Let me see if I can find this. Yep, there we go. His name is Nicholas Jordan Wagter. Wagter? Okay. So he changed his bio. His bio now says, "Let me the F out of here. All psychiatrists refuse to watch the video." What I'm gonna show you the video, by the way. Hang tight. Be patient with me, please. He has a video of himself that he's still in from yesterday, that he's still in the mental institute. The windows are this is insane. Basically, Canada has new laws where you can get 150 and they have mental health police working in tandem with psychiatrists. So at any moment, anyone can be 5150 if their family members decide to cooperate with a psychiatrist at any moment. So I don't know how bad it is where you are. The laws in Canada have changed now. You can get 5150. And I'm gonna show you the video. I promise. I'm sorry for all those who are waiting. Let me just say one more thing. You know, when it comes to the psychiatrist herself, I don't know her. I don't know the psychiatrist. Her actions are extremely suspicious, aren't they? It looks like someone is paying her. I mean, that's what it looks like. Does it not? Anyways, let me show you the video. Give me just a second. Por favor. We truly need divine protection. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. So this is, as I showed you, Nicholas Jordan Wagter is his name. Let me follow him real quick. He is in a mental institute. He's being held. This is his room. I'm guessing this is breakfast. Now let me, give me just 1 second. Let me find the video of, I'm just gonna mute my live so I don't hear myself. Okay, and let me play for you the video of him getting arrested.
He's a resident psychiatrist, senior resident. He's on a rotation with the CAR 87. We're part of a program that includes Vancouver Coastal Health and the Vancouver Police.
Mm-hmm.
And what we do is we go to people when there's different reasons that come up. Every case is a little different, and we go to people to see them where they are, especially if there's been issues with trying to find them and talk to them. So in your case, I think you were certified under the Mental Health Act just, I don't know how long ago, but like maybe 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago. Were you aware of that? Dr. Taylor saw you in a cafe. She didn't certify you. I think you filmed part of it. And then she spoke with your family, got some more information, and you know, you're gonna have to turn that off.
So just one sec.
Yeah.
What the officer just told me is that you know, you and I can set up a meeting and we can chat then. So why don't we do that, okay?
Yeah.
I'm not turning the camera off. I have a legal right to keep the camera on. If you don't want to make the appointment now, we can do it at another time. But you know, that's what the officer just asked that we do. So why don't we do that?
So I'm going to certify you under the Mental Health Act. We're going to bring you to hospital, do testing on you, and you're going to talk to a psychiatrist in a controlled environment because we don't believe that you're going to attend an appointment. You've been.
I've never been given a chance to attend an appointment.
So he's certified.
I've never been given a chance to attend an appointment.
Okay.
What is going on? I was never given a psych eval or nothing. He just looked at me and said, "You're certified."
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know why, but it's up to the doctor. So if you.
But no, he didn't even give me an eval. He just looked at me and said, "I'm certified."
I get that.
You know, please consider what you're doing, and please think about the fact that I'm more than happy to come in for an appointment. I'm happy to go through and do everything properly. Okay, I've been completely compliant with everything.
Yes, you've been really good at me, Nicholas. But listen, that's his call, and unfortunately, we can't
But
go
he
back on that.
hasn't
You have
talked
to
to
get
me.
checked out by a doctor.
You're interacting with me at a very regular.
Yeah.
Okay.
And this is Dr. Emery. He's a resident psychiatrist,
Yeah.
senior resident. He's on a rotation with the.
Hey, Chelsea. I think Chelsea was the one who sent me that video, actually. Was it you, Chelsea? I think you were the one who sent me that video. I'm pretty sure it was you. So, as you can see, Nicholas Jordan Wagter. Hey, this is so wrong. They did this to me as well. I'm sorry to hear that, Allison. It's insane. It's insane. Poor man, I can't believe they get away with this. I mean, it's good to see you, enlightened one, 415. It's more than just get away with it, you know? These people are truly behaving in a motivated fashion. And when someone behaves in a motivated fashion to do things like this, the only thing that comes to my mind is who's paying you? I don't know if you saw that video where there was John Kiriakou. It was a panel with Piers Morgan, John Kiriakou, some other guy, another man, and a woman. And there was a man in this panel that was defending, that wasn't defending, he was defaming or disparaging these SA victims And the woman asked him, "Who's paying you?" And he was like, "What? Excuse me?" And she said, "No, the way you're behaving, I've never seen anyone go out of their ways to disparage SA victims that they don't even know, to discredit them, to disparage them, to speak so horribly about them, which only leads me to believe that perhaps some of the alleged aggressors that these SA victims are basically pointing the fingers at within, you know what files I'm talking about. Perhaps you're on these people's payroll. So this leads me to ask, who's paying you? And he starts stumbling on his words and he's just like, "Oh, I can't hear what you're saying." And then of course Pierce Morgan is like, "It's very convenient that you can't hear what, like, she asks you this question and now you can't hear what she's saying." And of course, being the smart, and I just look at John Kiriakou, who's the ex-CIA agent I spoke of, who went to prison for whistleblowing on the CIA's illegal torture program in Guantanamo Bay. Um, he was just laughing. He was like, as soon as he said, like, "I can't understand what you're saying," he just went like, "You are a piece of work." And of course, being a smart woman, she says, "Well, if you can't hear me, Pierce, could you ask him? He seems to hear you. Can you ask him who's paying him?" And Pierce asked him, and he just went into this whole Darvo, basically, like he went, you know, he acted like he was a victim, and then he went on the attack to say, "Oh, you're defaming my character," and it's like, you're defaming the character of SA victims. What are you talking about? You're not a victim of nothing and no one here. We're just asking you who is paying you because your behavior is not coherent with a normal person. You're acting like someone who's being paid." And yeah, that was an interesting one. Hey, Chelsea. Gwendolyn White was targeted. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Gwendolyn White. Chelsea, I'm glad you're here. Thank you very much. I'm just going to read some of the comments before I speak of Gwendolyn White. Please be patient. It won't be too long. I think there's like 5 comments. The guy did nothing wrong, spoke respectfully. Yeah, spoke super respectfully. He was told that he could make an appointment by the first police officer, and then the second police officer said that he has the power to certify you, meaning that he can 5150 you. He can force an involuntary stay on you, because they can do that in Canada. Though he had done nothing to make it seem like he won't show up. As a matter of fact, he said, "I'm more than glad to show up. I'll call you. We'll set the appointment. I'll show up." And the cop just said, "I don't think you will. So I'm going to certify you now. You're under arrest." I hope he sues. If he opens up I'm gonna message him. That's the truth of it. I'm gonna message him because I would like to speak to him. I would like to know if he's a targeted individual. I would like to know if there's like weird things going on in his life. I'm gonna message him right now. Give me just a second. Um, but we are gonna get to Gwendolyn White. The story of Gwendolyn White. Gwendolyn White, who is now being held in prison for attempted unaliving of 2 people, 2 lawyers. If you guys have not heard about the story, you're gonna want to stick around. Trust me on that. Okay, so I just wrote to Nicholas. I told him, when you get out, I'd love to talk to you. I just don't want to talk to him while he's in there because they're probably going to take his phone and then look at his messages and then use it as, oh, depending on what he says, they're going to be like, oh, you need to stay for longer. So I'm just hoping that when he gets out, we'll be able to talk. A friend of mine, actually, her name is Andrea. She got 5150'd, but she got 5150 because she is a badass. I have a lot of admiration for that woman. She's a victim of gang stalking. She just made a bunch of posters outing all of her gang stalkers, and she put them all over London. And of course, they called the cops. She was charged 5150'd, and she's awaiting her trial. But I don't know if she sees this, but I don't think so. Uh, but she's a part of our group chats. Andrea, she's one of one. Anyways, to get to the story of Gwendolyn, maybe read the comments first. Sorry. My family tried to have me 302 when my targeting started back in Pennsylvania. I moved to Texas 2 years ago. Good on you. You did well. You did well to get away from them. And that's really a good advice. I was talking to another targeted individual who makes videos daily on her Facebook, and I really look forward to interviewing her. I would really like to interview her. But she was saying, I showed her the video, and she just basically said, when you're dealing with this, you need to, cut all contacts with any family members who are possibly in on it because everything you say can and will be used against you. So I'm like, you ain't got to tell me. I ain't talking to none of them. I just don't talk about that stuff with my family members. Always important to remember currencies and payments don't necessarily have to be money. People do a whole bunch of insane things just to feel important for relevance to gain approval. Absolutely. And there's a book written called Identify, Vilify, Nullify, and sorry. Yes, the book is called Cause Stalking, which you should definitely get. Cause Stalking. Identify, vilify, nullify, destroy. And within the second step, vilify. One thing that's very important to keep in mind is they vilify you. They turn you into a villain in the mind of others. So a lot of times, you may think that the people who are participating in your gang stalking are being paid. Sometimes they're not even being paid. Sometimes they're doing it because they think they're doing a good deed. They think you're a bad person. It's sort of like, I mean, there's no sort of like, you look at the war in Iraq. They said, oh, they have WMDs. They went over there. There were no WMDs. They went to, Afghanistan. All there were a bunch of civilians scraping by, just trying to live their lives. And you ask, a bunch of the soldiers that went there, and they said, we were protecting poppy seeds. Poppy, you know what poppy seeds are or what they're used for? All I will say is that they went to Afghanistan. A bunch of soldiers complained and said that they were just protecting poppy seeds. And then the opioid crisis hit America. Purdue gave you Oxycontin. And a bunch of doctors participated in, this whole charade of, oh, this is non-addictive. And since when has heroin been non-addictive? Anyways, let's not get into that. Let me just read the comments so I can get to Gwendolyn White. Always important to 2611 incident in India gave an excuse for the police access to NAT grid surveillance, which were used by intelligence agency, is now being used by state police against targeted individual. I have no doubts about that, my friend VJ. Hey, how are you? Good, considering. Considering I'm good. There are a lot of prizes for producing pain. Unfortunately. What are you? I don't know, but you're quiet now. Oh, not yet. There we go. There we go. There we go. I love the Lord and I love to pray, but be gangstalk doesn't give me a breath to rest from praying. It's the only place can be helped against their wickedness. Amen. Praise God. He didn't commit a crime. He sure didn't. They've been harassing him. They watch you 24/7. Is somebody in the psych ward? Yes, somebody is in the psych ward. Anyone here get the due? Not lately. It happened to me only on one occasion that I know of. Charged with what? He was not charged with anything per se. He was arrested because, like I said, a psychiatrist saw him 3 weeks prior. I thought it was a woman. It's actually a man, or at least they referred to him as a man. And he, the psychiatrist said that he saw him at a coffee shop, and then proceeded to contact his family because he believed that this person was unwell, and he happened to know his family. So he contacted his family, and then the family, along with the psychiatrist, came to the consensus that he was unwell and needed to be 5150, which is an involuntary psychiatric hold. And they obviously contacted the police. And in Canada, there are new laws that where a police officer can certify you. Basically, even if you say you'll show up to a, you know, a obligatory psychiatric meeting, I guess. If the police officer feels that he can make a judgment, he can basically be the judge and jury of your mental health, because police officers have a lot of knowledge about mental health, right? And so the police officer certified him in the sense that he just went, insane, stamped, go to get 5150'd. Get 5150'd. And I'm laughing. I don't find any of this funny. Understand this. Before, there's any type of like misunderstanding of like my reactions, I don't find any of this funny. This is scary because my family's in on it. A lot of my family members are in on it. Anyways, so yeah, legally, if you mention a 5150 as a disclaimer, can you be illegally restrained besides being stalked? I don't know. I don't know where you are. I don't know the laws where you are. I'm not American, though it may seem when I speak, people think I'm American. I'm not American. I haven't been to America for more than, I think I've been to America for 2 weeks in total in my life. I'm not American. Sorry. Thank you very much. I think that book will help me. It will help you. It will help you. Cause Stalking. Identify, Vilify, Nullify, Destroy. Cause Stalking by David Lawson. It will help you. It will. Have you been put in a psych ward before? No, I've never been put in a psych ward. I've been to a psych ward. Well, psych ward, like a psychiatric hospital. I wasn't held or anything, but I went there of my own volition because I didn't understand what was happening to me. And everybody was telling me that, I was losing it. So I was like, I don't think I am. I think everything I'm saying is absolutely true, but it is crazy. So I'm going to go get some answers. That's what happened. Mm, could majority of false flag events are tools being used on high profile targeted individuals? Sure, yeah. Everyone stay safe. Peace out. Hey, have a good one, lead follower. Good morning. Good morning, Jem Jem. Here in the US, the police create the problem. Not very different here. A lot of families since 2017 been offering up their family. I see that in my future. I see that in my future. For some reason, I feel like that's gonna happen. I mean, I pray it doesn't, but I feel like it will. There's a lot of people in my family that are behind this. And I'm very vocal about what's happening to me. And, I keep repeating it. I'm Haitian. I have a huge family. I have 10 uncles and aunts on my father's side and 11 on my mother's side. I have a lot of cousins, a lot of them. A lot of these people are in on it. And I found out late in the game. Anyways, I do think it's coming for me. But I'll be all right. I'll be all right. I laugh at this not funny thing all the time. It's too unbelievable. Yeah. I understand you not understanding what is happening to you. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was, it was probably 16 or 17 years ago, maybe more, that I went to the mental hospital. Probably like 16 years ago. Just because I didn't understand what is this? Why are people quoting things I said in conversations the day before when I was all alone in my house, chatting online with my cousin? Why am I going to work and now hearing the things I said? Why is this constantly happening over and over? Why are these coworkers of mine making references to things I said and did the day before while I was at home? What's this? What is this? What is happening? And you talk about you explain that to anybody, and they'll tell you, are you okay? Are you all right? You know? So you you know, never for a second did I doubt that these things actually happened, but you get enough people telling you, to go speak to a psychiatrist, you go, hey, how's it gonna hurt? What will it hurt to speak to a psychiatrist? Come to find out it can actually hurt quite a bit. Um, we'll see. We'll see, man. We'll see. So, Gwendolyn White, for those who were waiting for me to speak on Gwendolyn White, it is very interesting. I don't know if Chelsea's still here. I hope you are. But it is very interesting because I made a video a couple of days ago. I made a video and it was called Gang Stalking is Dangerous for Gang Stalkers. And basically, the premise of that video was that gang stalking is dangerous for gang stalkers because a lot of the people that are participating in this are not fully aware of what this is. They think that, or they only see what it is that they are shown, and they only see what is being done to you as far as what they do to you, right? So, for example, someone is being instructed to be where you are. Doesn't seem that big of an issue. Thank you. 421BB4 says that was a great video. Thank you very much. I got a lot of views on that video, more than usual. I was very happy about that because I thought it was a very important message. It was a message that I really wanted gang stalkers to hear more than anything, but yeah, I'm speaking in the wind. These people are not listening, There's no cure for evil. And it's actually a quote that I heard in a video game, Octopath Traveler 2. There's this character named Casty who's an apothecary, and when she wins a fight, she'll say, "I know no cure for evil." And every time she says it, I'm always like, I'm playing the game right now, replaying it for the third time. It's a great one, but every time she says it, I'm always very I can relate to it because the content I used to make was about narcissism, and narcissism is basically. I'm glad you're here, Chelsea. Thank you for being here. Uh, the content I used to make was about narcissism, and narcissism is the scientific term for evil. And there is no cure for narcissism, much like there is no cure for evil. Anyways, the point I'm making. Um, do you think that the gang stalker really know that they are gang stalkers? Yes and no. I think that I'm gonna get to the other comments as well. I'm just gonna speak on great Gwendolyn first, and then I'll get to the other comments. But I just wanted to answer Gracie because this is an important question. I think that most gang stalkers, because you got to figure that there are a lot of gang stalkers. A lot of people are participating in this, or they're aware of it and are not saying anything, which leads one to believe that either one, people are super evil, and you never found out, you never knew, right? Which is not the case. I would say that maybe 50% of people are pretty evil, pretty moralless. It seems like a lot, but 50% is like a very fair assessment, in my opinion. In my opinion. But if someone can be gang stalked by their entire family, your whole family are not evil, right? The truth is, a lot of the people that are participating in gang stalking are actually convinced that you're evil, and they're fighting you. That's why they are, the people that are evil that are participating in your gang stalking are either doing it because they enjoy hurting you, they have a vendetta, a personal vendetta against you. You did something to offend them, or they're doing it because they are in trouble and they're trying to get themselves out of trouble with the law, or they're being paid. Could be a number of things, right? But what about the people that are good and that you knew to be good before they were gang stalking you? A lot of them have been brainwashed. You have been vilified in their eyes. Someone poured poison in their ears when it comes to you. I was loud. Sorry. When it comes to you, and because you've been vilified, that's the reason why they're acting just like evil people who have no remorse about participating or knowing about your torture and feeling no way about it. So I hope that answers your question. Yeah, there you go. Gracie said, I think they believe they're doing the right thing. Yeah, I mean, if and I'm just gonna say this last thing before I speak of Gwendolyn White. Um, if if I can record your life 24/7, I'll find something. I'll find something that can make me turn people against you. Whatever it is. Maybe you're sexist. Maybe you're racist. Maybe you're quick to anger. Maybe they made you quick to anger through the torture. Maybe you chewed out someone. Maybe you said something about your coworker being dumb, or whatever, whatever. No one's perfect. Everyone has flaws, right? Everyone sins. Everyone makes mistakes, blah, blah, blah. And if I can't find anything on you, I can make it up, right? I can make something up about you, right? So the point I'm making is the first part of gang stalking is identify, spy, get as much information on this person, and then vilify is the second part. They vilify you, right? They really make you out to be a monster, whether it be with true information or false information, right? So a lot of them think they're doing the right thing. Let's speak of Gwendolyn White. Gwendolyn White situation. This is heavy. The Gwendolyn White situation. So, Gwendolyn White, a 57-year-old woman, is currently incarcerated after being arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted first-degree unaliving following a pew-pewing outside of... Censorship is so stupid. Outside of the Wake County Courthouse in downtown Raleigh, North Carolina. Now, the 2 victims were identified as Mary Harris and Jeffrey Whitley, both attorneys at the national law firm Fox Rothschild. That's funny. They were representing the town of Rollsville in Gwendolyn's civil lawsuit. Now, Gwendolyn had a civil lawsuit against her neighbor. And basically there was a lot of back and forth, and people were portraying it as if it was just a normal neighbor dispute. But Gwendolyn was saying, no, I've been harassed by this neighbor and others for several years. And Gwendolyn's mother had recently passed, and she had blamed her gang stalkers for it, and she was not taking it well. I went on her Facebook page. I saw the posts she had been making. She was very sad, shook, upset about the passing of her mother, and they were continuing the torture on Gwendolyn, allegedly. Now, if you were to ask me, do I believe her? Yes, 100%. I think Gwendolyn White is a targeted individual. You know, much like, you know, many other targeted individual who ended up committing acts of violence, or you know, who have passed away because of it, or who are in mental institutes or incarcerated at the moment because of what they did. And I just want to make sure to say that I do not advocate for violence. I do not think that that's the answer. I'm only saying that I believe them. I believe they were targeted. And it is very hard for someone to believe that they're targeted unless you're also being targeted, because the immediate thought is, who are you? What makes you so special that you would be targeted? And, you know, I can't give you an answer, because I know I'm not special. Right. Chelsea says she accused them of poisoning her, right? And I've spoken with enough targeted individuals to know that this is not rare. It is not rare for targeted individuals to be poisoned. Chelsea says through the air vents. This is not rare. Someone threatened me like a few months ago, you know, with carbon monoxide, you know, saying that I was going to be, you know, making allusions to the fact that I would be poisoned with carbon monoxide. I've spoken to plenty of people who you know. I dropped the interview with Nicole today, the part 3. On part 2, she says She's been poisoned before. So, as unbelievable as her story is, I believe her. I wholeheartedly believe her. And, I've been thinking all day about, I don't know if you guys watch anime, but I've been watching Full Metal Alchemist, which is basically set in a place that is inspired by Germany, and there's like a civil war, just like there was in Germany, and we know that at the time of the civil war there was Zersetzung, which resembles very much the program that we're gang stalking. It's basically gang stalking without the internet, and I can't help but think that though people are saying that it was happening after, you know, World War II, I can't help but think that no, I'm pretty sure it was happening before, and it probably led to it, which is something that Andrew McCready was saying. He was telling me that things like gang stalking or Zersetzung usually happen before a great historical injustice takes place. And I can't find him. Andrew McCready is gone. His account is gone. His Facebook account is gone. His chess.com account is gone. Um, and at first I thought maybe they got to him. They got to him in a sense of they vilified me. They threw dirt on my name, and he decided to unfriend me. But then I asked other people to go check. Can you find this account? Did he block me or is he gone? And he's gone. He is gone. And then I heard this story of this victim of Mr. Jeffrey, who was traveling, and out of the blues, she just completely disappeared. Her mother in Italy was saying, I cannot find my daughter. All of her social media accounts are gone as well. Um, and then immediately I thought of Andrew McCready, and I was like, he disappeared, and all of his social media accounts are gone. I mean, he still has like his old Facebooks. I don't think he's very computer literate, in a sense that he has a couple of Facebook accounts. Some of them are very old, some of them are more recent, but they're not the ones he was using. My dad is like that. He has a bunch of accounts because he just forgets his password, and instead of like retrieving his old password, he makes a new account. I think Andrew McCready was a is a bit like that. Even his YouTubes, he has 3 YouTube channels. I just think he loses his accounts, but his accounts are still there. The account in question that I was talking to him on has disappeared. And the last time we spoke was in March. He sent me a message saying, I want to do another interview with you. I've discovered some things that is linking gang stalking to the FBI that I would like to discuss with you, and that I would like to let be known, and things of that nature. And I said, yeah, absolutely. That was like March 27th that he messaged me, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. Whenever you want. Well, I'm super down. Let's do it. And then I wrote to him, I believe, on March 29th to congratulate him on winning a chess tournament, because he had posted that on his Facebook. And that was the last time we spoke. And in April, I came to the realization that he hasn't liked any of my posts lately. He hasn't sent me anything. He hasn't posted anything. So I looked for him, and he was gone. And then I went on my chess.com account because he added me on chess.com because I play chess as well. And then I realized, oh, he's not even in my friends list. He's gone. And then I asked people, hey, can you see this account? Did he block me or is he gone? And he's gone. His account is gone. So I pray for him. I hope he's doing okay. I really hope he's doing okay. To get back to Gwendolyn. So Gwendolyn was being harassed by people in her neighborhood, including her neighbors. Gwendolyn had a bunch of lawsuits with a bunch of different people going on, civil lawsuits going on with a bunch of people because she felt like she was being, well, she says that she was being harassed by them. And a judge decided that she can no longer file any civil lawsuits unless a lawyer signs off on it. And when she went to these lawyers to go file a civil lawsuit, they basically informed her that, hey, a judge, has basically said that you cannot file a lawsuit, and they refused to sign off on it. So the results are she's incarcerated after being arrested and charged with 2 counts of attempted first degree unaliving following a pew-pewing outside of Wake County Courthouse in Raleigh, North Carolina. But, it's just interesting because 2 days before this story came out, it's May 26th. 4 days ago, I made a video saying gang stalking is dangerous to gang stalkers because I don't know if she felt that they were in on it. I don't know if they were in on it. It is possible. But what I had said in my video 4 days ago, this story broke. This story broke 4 days ago. The video I made was 4 days ago. I made the video exactly on the same day that it happened, or maybe a day before. Wow. Anyways, that's a weird coincidence. In that video, I was basically saying that you never know who will be the last straw, because you, for example, are being paid to, what was insane to you, Chelsea? What was insane to you? You are being paid to follow someone, for example. And now you follow someone and you're being told this person is a danger to society. We need to keep track of that person. So we just send out, civilians to go be where they are. No, don't say anything to them. Just take a picture, film, whatever, and then report back. And you think that's all you're doing. No big deal. No problem. What these people who send you are not telling you is, we've been torturing this person for years. We make sure that they can't get a job because we spy on them. We sabotage them, we sabotage their work opportunity. We sabotage this person's life. Chelsea asks a really important question. When your rights are taken away, what's the right action? I'm gonna say one of the things I hate saying the worst to answer your question. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I think that what we're doing is probably one of the best options. Speaking up, exposure, getting others to speak up as well, to not let this gang stalking soak in secrecy. Because I have no doubts that while it was happening in Germany, before and during and after World War II, people were afraid to speak up on it, because what are people going to think of me if I start saying I'm being followed? There are listening devices in my home, You know what I mean? I'm sure that a lot of people were like, I can't speak up. And I'm sure that this kind of secrecy led to things getting worse and worse as time went by. Now, I think the best thing for us is to speak up to make it so ridiculously to flood to flood it, to make the information so ridiculously accessible that people have to go out of their way to avoid our content. That's what I think. Because I'm not going Gwendolyn. I'm not going Myron May. And I have no intentions of, self-unaliving. I enjoy breathing. I like my life. I have a positive outlook on life. You know what I mean? But I do think that something needs to be done. I think the question you ask is extremely important, and we should spitball. What are your ideas? you know, this is a question that needs an answer. If Jesus for me says the artist Sammy, they got his mom. Indeed, there's a Atlanta singer Sammy. I had no idea who he was. I had no idea. That guy could sing, but I had no idea who he was. And then I heard one of his songs and I was like, I know that song. I didn't know it was him. Anyways, his mother, he did an interview with Cam Newton, who used to be a football player. Is he still a football player? Former. So Cam Newton was quarterback. I don't know what a quarterback is. Cam Newton was a quarterback, and he was a star player. And now he has a podcast, the same way that Shannon Sharp has a podcast. And he's done a bunch of interviews with a bunch of different people, interviews that were very interesting. And he did an interview with Sammy, the singer Sammy. And Sammy was crying and speaking on his mother being incarcerated because of not attempted unaliving, but because of unaliving. And basically, he was saying that his mother's mental health was getting worse and worse every time he would talk to her. He said, I'm a mama's boy, so I speak to my mom all the time. And every time he would talk to her, instead of asking him, how was your tour? How was your show? And things of that nature, she kept bringing up, baby, they're spying on me through my TV, through my electronics, through my phone, through my tablets. They're spying on me. I'm being followed. And she just kept talking about this, right? And Sammy didn't know what to do with that information. He also did not necessarily believe her, but him and his siblings, they were just like, we don't know what to do with this, right? And it's very insidious. They're not going to target you while you're with other people that might see, usually. So it was all stuff that she couldn't prove, obviously. And then at one point, she was, I believe there was a break in her home. She retrieved her firearm, and apparently she would let off warning shots. That's what Sammy said. She let off some warning shots, but she unalived a mother of 3, I believe. And she was incarcerated. Now she's being held in a mental institute because she has a good lawyer. But yeah, the point I'm making is, I thought it was interesting when I made that video and then I saw that story, and I'm realizing I saw that story 2 days ago, but it came out 4 days ago on the same day I made that video. And you just never know. Gang stalking is dangerous to gang stalkers, because even if you do something and you think it's not that big of a deal, it's not that big of a deal. The truth is, the expression, the straw that broke the camel's back, exists for a reason. Because it is not, a heavy load that you put on a camel that breaks the camel's back. Not proverbial camel, like a real camel. If you put a load that's too heavy on a camel, he's just going to drop it or fall. And that's that. But if you add slowly, straw after straw, the camel is not going to drop or fight it. He's just going to stay there. It's the same thing with the boiling frog until it becomes too much, and then his back is broken. But with the boiling frog, it's the same thing. If you were to put a frog into a pot of boiling water, it would jump right out. It's too hot. If you put a frog into a pot of lukewarm water, and then you slowly, very slowly turn the heat up, very slowly, by the time the water gets to boiling, the frog wouldn't jump out. It would boil. It would stay there and boil. You know? Now, you may think, well, I'm just doing this small thing. I'm just following Chelsea in a coffee shop. Chelsea is out at Starbucks, and I'm going to go be where she's at and hang around her and film her. I've seen so many videos of Chelsea where this exact same thing happened, where she's just sitting down on her laptop, chilling, living her life at Starbucks. And these dudes, usually Middle Eastern for some reason, they're just hanging around her and filming her and looking at her. And they seem to be really pissed off that she's filming them. Now, these guys may not think they're doing something insane. And, I just want to say I'm not advocating for anyone to commit any acts of violence. Violence is wrong. It's not the answer. What I'm saying is none of these guys woke up on that day, or, none of the people that ended up being unalived for messing with targeted individuals woke up that morning, got their instructions on what to do, and then thought to themselves, I can't do that. That's gonna be too much for this person. They're going to, commit an act of violence on me. None of them thought that. No one. Because you don't think that. You don't think this small thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to pretend to be your friend and come over your house and, record you and ask you incriminating questions or leading questions, things to get information from you. No one thinks that, what I'm doing is that big of a deal or it's worthy of whatever. But there are a bunch of people who are doing life in prison off of the RICO Act because they were part of YSL, in Atlanta, or the mob. And they're thinking, well, I was just selling grass, man. I wasn't doing it. I wasn't doing any of these hits, or, I wasn't selling any, hard stuff. I wasn't doing any intimidation. I'm not an enforcer or anything like that. I was just selling grass under the protection of Don whatever. But you are committing a smaller crime in furtherance of a bigger one, much like gang stalkers are committing small acts of harassment in furthering of a greater harassment. And sometimes you're the unlucky straw that breaks the camel's back. And when that happens, what do you think is going to happen? The people that sent you, the narcissistic psychopaths who sent you at someone to go harass them, do you think that they're going to be like, oh, they were working on a top secret mission for us and they died in the the line of duty or what? No, no. Your name won't even be mentioned. Before I named the lawyers that Gwendolyn took out, you didn't know their names. Even the people who knew about Gwendolyn, you probably didn't know the names of the victims. And I don't know if they were in on it. I don't. Right? I'm just saying. Let's read some comments. Oof. You just talked about Martin Lawrence. What type of weapon is used to heat your body up, as in simulating hot flashes, only not feels like being cooked from inside? I mean, I would think that that would be microwave weapons. That's what makes sense to me. I've never had that experience personally, or maybe I have, and I don't know that that's what it was. I've been hit with directed energy weapons. I don't know if it was microwaves or I'm not sure, but it sounds like a microwave. You know, funny enough, a lot of people don't know this. You might, but a lot of people don't know this. But microwave ovens were not created with the intentions of creating microwave ovens. Microwave ovens were created, as a military weapon they were trying to use in order to attack their enemies, in order to do what they're doing now to innocent civilians. But it was too unstable. So they took the technology and they used it for something else, repackaged. And now you have, hot pockets in 2 minutes instead of 15. I laugh at this not funny thing all the time. It's too unbelievable. It sure is. My ex is a social worker and he had me convinced that I was mentally ill. Your ex sounds like an evil person. I'm sorry, Gracie. I never went inpatient, but I really thought I was mentally ill. I never thought I was mentally ill. I just figured if anyone's going to have answers for me, it's going to be them. And if they don't have an answer for me, then I'm screwed. I found out very quickly that I was actually screwed. Ignore the noisy world and everything will be balanced. That's really good advice, to be honest. One of the best ways to handle being gang stalked is to ignore it. Pretend like it's not happening. Just live your life. Somebody decides to not talk to you anymore. Move on. Somebody turns on you. Stop talking to them immediately. And one of the best advice I can give you is try not to be too paranoid, but don't be afraid to be wrong about people. If you feel like someone has turned on you and is gang stalking you, even if they're not, you're better off being wrong about them and turning your back on them than giving them the benefit of the doubt. You can't afford it. You can't afford the benefit of the doubt anymore. You can't afford to give anyone the benefit of the doubt anymore. If you feel like someone has turned on you, trust your gut. Self-doubt is one of their greatest weapons. They want to make you doubt yourself, doubt who you really are. This is not a test. You're allowed to be wrong. I read books to figure out mental illness and made me realize the narcissistic abuse. Yeah. One of the greatest things about the internet is, or about YouTube, in my opinion, is if you're like me and you're not really into reading books that much, uh, the great thing is that there are people on YouTube who do read books and they can't wait to tell you about what they read. And I love that. You don't have to read the DSM-5. You can just watch every single video that Dr. Ramani puts out, and it's just like you read the DSM-5. Because I mean, you could talk to me about narcissistic personality disorder, and the information I would give you on it, you would believe that I have read the DSM-5. I have not. People, you know, people will talk to me and be like, "What's your background? Like, where did you learn all this stuff? Like, what study? Nothing, nothing. I just made it my whole mission to get as much information on the subject. And when someone is passionate about a subject, they can't wait. Even if like, for example, they're selling sessions, to speak to you one on one about the subject that they're so um, um, savvy about. Sorry. Even if they're selling it, even if they're selling a book, even if they wrote a book on it, if you catch them in a conversation, they can't wait. They cannot wait to talk to you about it. Like, you're like almost like doing them a favor, and I know that because it's the same thing for me. Like when it comes to my job, if you start talking to me about, well, not anymore, but if you started to talk to me about my job, what I actually do, you can get me to shut up. You cannot get me to shut up. I mean, nowadays I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody about nothing. You know, anything personal. It's like, that's my life. Leave me alone. I have enough prying eyes. It feels good when you're unbothered. It sure does. I got forced into a psych ward for a week, but I think the staff became aware something was happening to me. I was released after a week and meant to have an appointment with a psychologist. Well, I'm glad you were released. To be officially released, but a nurse met me instead and released me. I saw the psychologist on the way out, and she couldn't understand what was going on and why I had been released without her say. Too bad. I'm glad you were released. Remember, your reaction triggered them and they want you to stay quiet. I think it's the opposite. What do you mean, Jem Jem? I think it's the opposite. I think they want a reaction out of you because they can use that. But if you just stay quiet, it's like I can't use nothing. In the face of narcissistic abuse, you should always be quiet. Just be quiet. It's been a year, but they subbed to me. He has been with a few and pretends I don't exist, and I'm still trying to get myself together. I'm sorry to hear that. But you got it. You got this. You got this. In May 1996, Martin Lawrence was arrested after running into a busy Los Angeles intersection screaming, "They're trying to get me," while carrying a loaded hand firearm. I remember that. I remember that. Do you think that the gang stalkers know that they are gang stalkers? Oh, I answered that before. Evil people equals zero accountability. That's the truth. I do believe that some people are truly evil. Unfortunately, it's more than some. It's more than some. It's more like a lot. But it's not everybody. The POTUS, JFK Sr., JFK Jr. Most are just sleeping. They are being recorded every day. Who is being recorded? All gang stalkers. I mean, everybody's being recorded. A lot of people think that these data centers are being built for AI. No, not at all. Not at all. These data centers, they're mass surveillance. It's just mass surveillance. being rolled out. AI does not need that many data centers. It's like, oh, we're gonna destroy nature so that you can have AI, which you're not paying for, by the way. You know, we're giving you AI for free, but we need data centers. We need to build these data centers. Listen to what I'm saying. Pay attention. We need to build these billion-dollar data centers in order to provide you with this AI service that's free. It's for your own good. What? You don't trust me? You don't want a data center? You want to afford your electric bill? You'd rather drink clean water? Why are you so selfish? Why do you hate me, you schmomestic schmerarist? Anyways, that was my impression of a narcissist. Was that a little too good? Yeah, it's really funny. You know, they destroy your you know your neighborhood. They put these data centers to a vote. Everybody votes a majority no. They still get built, and then these private companies call eminent domain as if they were you know public companies, as if private companies could do that, right? And then they destroy homes, they destroy neighborhoods, they build anyways. And then if you oppose that, they call you're a bad person. You're a schmomestic schmerarist. Why are you against progress? What's wrong with you? You want clean water. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. Yeah. This has been built up slow. Righteous anger. That's the main tactic. They weren't brainwashed. They were already evil. Just they discovered their talent because their kind woke up. And remember, we're all waking up differently. I think that a lot of evil people are really relishing the opportunity to do evil. I also think that there are a lot of people who really, really, honestly believe that they're doing something good. Truly. Because, you know, let's say you're racist. You don't like immigrants, or you don't like white people, right? It would be very easy for me to take footage of you saying racist things, like awful racist things, and then recruit someone who's like super progressive and radical, and then pay them to participate in your torture because they think you deserve it. It's very easy. Like, I don't know, man. What example can I use? Say you have a company and your company pollutes. It would be very easy for me to go to like these radical left, Greenpeace type, green energy radicals and vilify you, make them believe that this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? You've done way worse things than what it is that we're able to show them. And then I tell them the plan on how we're going to take you down. And they go, oh, we have the power to take him down. And they think they're doing something good, you know? Where's Andrew McCready? I'm sorry. Helm covered this the other day. Who's Helm? Gitmo was created for this reason. Yes, Gitmo was created for this reason. I didn't know the details. She accused him of the evidence. No, it's not rare. To some people, other people are livestock. We're getting into some dangerous territory here. I would say that to pretty much any elites, people are livestock. You know, a lot of like right wing people look at Trump or Elon, you know, AI CEOs, things of that nature, and they look at them like there are champions. Or, you know, you look at these, you know, left wing people and they go, Obama was our sleep. All of these people see you as livestock, all of them. You don't matter. I was with lead, my liver and kidney were dysfunctional. Sheesh. Well, I'm glad you're still here with us, VJ. Earth is a warfare between children of God and children of the beast, serpent Satan. That we agree on. Guilty here in the not recovering my old account. I won't judge you, believer. Hey, Michelle left. I hope you have a good night. I will finish listening tomorrow. When your eyes are taken away. Have a good night, Brendan. I don't even know what all has been said about me to my stalkers, but the devil is a lie. Great question. Yeah. You know, I used to think about it a lot, about what are they telling these people about me? You know? Because I know to a certain extent, you know, when it comes to my family, it's like gossip stuff, you know? I gossiped, but in the same token, I'm like, but they must have said other things because, I mean, it's either they told them other things that I didn't actually say or that I didn't actually do, or they're not giving them the whole picture of what is being done to me. Sorry, allergies. Or my family is way more evil than I thought. And I think that it's meant that way, you know? It's meant that way in a sense of, you know, and this is something I want to talk about. A lot of people who are going through gang stalking believe that it's coming from their family, it's coming from their ex. And I'm sure that there are certain people that it actually is, you know, probably a lot. But I was talking to someone, I'm not going to say who, but I was talking to someone and, you know, she had mentioned something that she went through and I kind of went, you know, your story is very similar to a lot of stories I hear, you know, as far as like origin story, you know. And then she said, well, you know, actually I think it's coming from my ex-husband, not from these people. And, you know, when it comes to my gang stalking, a lot of the tactics that they were using were used in order to make me feel like my was doing it because it started back again. Like there was a pause for a couple of years and then it started back again during my breakup. And the people that were turning on me were only people that were associated with my ex at the time. So they were framing her, you know, and at one point my ex sent me a message saying, you know, oh, you know, I don't know what you have against me because I refuse to talk to her. Which is really funny. Like, why would you think you're entitled to have like communicate? Like, you're my ex. You can't talk to me. And she was like, I don't know why you're refusing to talk to me. I have nothing to do with what's going on in your life, blah blah. And in my head, I was just like, well, only a person who's guilty of what I am, accusing you of, or not accusing you of, but what I think you're doing. Only a person who's guilty would even say I'm like, because I didn't accuse you, I didn't say it was you, but you're coming out saying this has nothing to do with me. I don't know why you want, anyways. But I honestly think that they were framing her in the hopes that I would take out my anger on her. That's really their goal. That's their ammo. And they don't tell, the people who participating in gang stalking, they don't tell them like, our actual hope is not to take this person down. Our actual hope is that this person will take you down so that we can take them down. That's our hope. We want you to sacrifice yourself so we can get to this person. Because the truth is, you know too much. So if they get rid of you, so be it. Two birds, one stone. But they won't tell you that. They'll tell you you're doing a really good thing, and don't worry, we'll be with you, we'll be watching, and we'll have your gift card ready. Anyways, but yeah. Which is one of the reasons why I often say I wouldn't want to trade places with you people. Because I'm not fooled. I'm not fooled. I'm not confused about what's going on. You don't even know the things you don't know. you know? The truth is I'm your, as much as you hate me, I'm your best friend. I'm the closest thing to a friend that you have right now. You think they're your friends? Wait till something happens to you. See how you'll see from the other world, how much they were your friends. They're not your friends, man. They're using you. The tyrannical always reward compliance with more tyranny. Let me repeat that. The tyrannical always reward compliance with more tyranny. In shorter terms, you're next. I mean, right now it's me. I'm it. Right? It is what it is. You're next. Good luck. Energy isn't infinite. If they sabotage things that give energy, like work, relationships, hobbies, you can remain stuck. My gang stalking is so bad, even some of you might not believe what's been happening. There are only a handful of people I still talk to, but they are not even in my corner, really. Well, speak. I'm listening. I'm here for that. Speak. I'll believe you. I'm sure you're not going to say anything that's going to be out of the realm of being believable. Hey, Harriet, how's it going? Long time no see. How are you? I'm so glad you are talking about this. We need to come together because nobody else will treat us like humans. She didn't want him to sign a record label deal early in his career. I believe they got her for that. Well, had you told me this a couple of years ago, I would have been like, no one's holding a grudge for that long. Sammy got gray hair and stuff. It's like, all right. Like he was a star back in the early 2000s. It's 2026 and they're still going after her. Chill. But the truth is, you're probably right. Because at the end of the day, this whole gang stalking thing is they add you to a watch list. It's not like the person who nominated you for the watch list is actively participating in your destruction. They're not, usually. They just add you to a watch list, and then they watch your life go bye bye with glee. And they can't put a stop to it. They can do a nomination, they can do a denomination or whatever. What can TIs do to jump out of the pot? Feels like there is nothing we can do even as they turn up the heat. Targeted prey. The answer is nothing. You can run, but you can't hide. It's happening everywhere. However, however, there are some places that are much better than others right now. I mean, I'm not saying it's not happening everywhere, but if you go to Bolivia, Argentina, it's probably not as bad as California. You feel me? Just saying. I didn't know about Martin Lawrence. Yeah, that was a crazy story. Evil can't be cured. Funny but true. Yeah. Self-doubt is their greatest weapon. Absolutely. Self-doubt, lack of self-love, it's their greatest weapon because the truth is there's not much they can do uh, to you, but aside from like your sabotage, you know, their greatest strength is when you join them by not taking care of yourself anymore, by constantly doubting all your decisions and becoming so indecisive that you don't make decisions, by lacking self-love and indulging in self-destructing behavior. What they want is they want to destroy you without touching you. So their best way to do that is to get you to do it for them. Release yourself of all self-doubt, you know, of all self-love deficiency, you know. And the context of in which we were talking about this was if you feel like someone has turned on you, you know, you're allowed to be wrong, you know. Turn your back on them anyways. If they're good people, they'll forgive you anyways, you know. You can't afford to give anyone the benefit of the doubt because when you give someone the benefit of the doubt, what you're doing in return to yourself is you're self-doubting. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt and I'm self-doubting myself because my intuition is telling me that something is up, something is wrong. But then I'm going to defer to you. It's like, no, I'm going to trust myself enough to make the decision, and I'm going to love myself enough to forgive myself if I was wrong. And whether you forgive me is your business. It has nothing to do with me, and I really don't care. It's not my place, you know? I wish you the best. They are in disbelief when you get their game, then boom, it's game over. That's what I mean. You're doing me a favor, yeah? To clarify, I was not in a psych ward, but I have been to rehab, not for substance abuse, but for an eating disorder. I almost died. I think I did die. Damn. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, Gracie. I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you're still with us. Okay. So I recently moved somewhere and a man immediately told me he was putting up cameras because people were stealing food and tools. I replied, wait until they put the food back. He didn't realize. Everyone is recorded regardless. It's the system. Yep. Edward Snowden told us we didn't listen. I'm well versed in the gang stalking, make you think you're crazy. Drumroll. I started taking pictures and videoing, waiting on the what the hell moment. It came, and I have the video and the look on his face. Nice. Don't allow the narcissist to walk all over you. Yeah. Move away. Remote viewing is real. I said you did it priceless, so folks be thankful if you're not trapped up in a house with them. Yeah. Their kind woke them up. They think they're doing good, but they are playing Satan's helpers. The road to hell is paved in good intentions. The road to hell is paved with good intentions. People basically do things that they believe is right. Through their own logic, they think this is right. This is the right thing to do because you've been vilified to them. So, hurting you, taking you out, spying on you, doing all these things that they know are wrong are no longer wrong because there's a greater cause. I believe it was Mr. Benjamin who made a speech on that. Said if you want someone to do something to go against their morals, you have to brainwash them. He said that. There was a camera filming him when he said that. Do you know those of us here right now are awake and a narcissist? We are crazy. Groupthink can be very scary. Yeah. I want to say this. If you're married to a narcissist and you have kids with them, make sure you protect your kids from them because you don't want your kids corrupted by them. Pray against the narc. Indeed. Indeed. I believe that my gang stalking is coming from the jinn. It's very spiritual. I'm awake and they don't want others to wake up. They sure don't. That's true. The spiritual is more natural, which you can imagine. What do you think about mob? People are more comfortable doing thing in a group than single-handedly. Why? VJ just asked a great question. You used a word that was triggering to me, but that's all right. That's all right. I mean, I'm guessing that VJ is not very versed in Black American history, so he used the term lynching. I was not ready to say or anything. Don't take it the wrong way. I'm not upset or anything, but he asked, "What do you think about mob lynching? People are more comfortable doing a thing in a group than single-handedly. Why?" It's groupthink is another term for a cult, and a cult leader is usually a Machiavellian, narcissistic psychopath. And when we say Machiavellian, we're talking about someone who's extremely manipulative and who plans things out, right? So they're like thinking a couple of steps ahead of everyone. So these people that are these handlers that are sending perps at you, they lose their identity. That's true. These handlers that are sending gang stalkers at you, they have a plan. They've done this before, or they've read the handbook. They know what they're doing. They know how to get to their end goal. They have an end goal, and they know how to operate and how to get there, and how to get everyone to abandon their morals, their values, and instead adopt the psychopath's moral and values. So they basically convince everyone to do bad things in the name of good, right? So the narcissistic psychopath sells a fantasy to his constituents, I guess would be the term. And Usually it's the people who are looking for a fantasy. And the fantasy usually is that, you know, you're not a loser. You're a hero. I have a mission for you. There is a villain, and we must take him down. So, you know, the truth about fantasy is that being sold a fantasy is that people love being sold a fantasy. They really do. People love being sold a fantasy. Especially if you know you have nothing going on in your life, or you know your life is a mess. You feel the need to have some type of control over your life, and it's like, I can't solve the issues going on in my life, but I can destroy yours, and that will make me feel like I'm gaining back my power. So, or that I'm important in some way that I was not before. Sorry, I have something in my eye. There we go. My eye's so red. Sorry. So yeah, I hope this answers your question. They live sacrifices, believe me. I couldn't see who it really was in the beginning. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people are blaming someone, and I think this is like a good moment to reflect on who you think started it, and thinking to yourself, could it be someone else? Because when I tell my story, a lot of people will tell me, no, no, it's your ex, it's your ex, it's not these people online, on the internet, and it's like that you met on a forum, on a dog forum that just decided to like ruin your life randomly, and it's actually really funny. I was doing my research on, uh, these people. They were breeders, and American bully breeders, and there was this one dog that they had that was like sort of like a celebrity within the community of American bully at the time. And I was looking up this dog's pedigree, this dog's name, and I found a page, because all of these people, their information is gone off of the internet. You cannot find them anymore. You know, uh, there's a reason for that. And I was Googling this dog's name, and I found a page that was still up. And then from this dog's picture and pedigree, you could see one of his daughters. And then I went into the daughter's page and I saw the name, and then I Googled this guy's name, and he's passed away. Young man passed away. And then I looked at the daughter. Did this daughter have children? And she had a bunch of them. And I started Googling the name of one of the person who also has, a grandchild of this dog that was owned by the guy who was like in the original gang stalkers. Put me on the list. And he's also passed away. And he was a pastor, but he's also passed away. And I'm like looking at this, and I'm like, these are very weird coincidences. I'm not making anything of it yet. I'm still doing my research, but I just thought it was interesting. Anyways, the point is, when I tell people, they say, "Oh no, it's your ex. It's your ex." You know how women are. Even when I told my dad about it, he was like, "Oh, it's your ex." You know how women are. Women, they can be mad at you forever, and they want to destroy you, blah blah. And I'm like, first of all, I understand what you're saying, but I need you to understand that the reason why I know it's them is because before they were doing it to me, they were doing it to someone else. I saw them do it to someone else. This other guy pulled up on the chat and started telling them, "You guys are messing with my life. This is real life, and you're messing my marriage, my job, blah blah." And I was in a chat, you know, reading these comments that he was saying to these other people, and I'm like, this guy is in California. These people are in like New York, Detroit, New Mexico. Like, how are they destroying your life? What are you talking about? And obviously, years later, now I'm realizing, oh, like, that's how they were destroying his life. Um, but a lot of times, what you need to understand is you need to look at your origin story, because they try to get you off track and blame someone else. They really framed my ex, and they did quite a good job of it. A really good job of it. They framed her really well. I I legit thought it was her. I didn't do anything. I didn't say anything to her, but I honestly thought it was her. Anyways, it is the whispers of Shaitan. Yeah. Yep. I don't want to be friends. All I know is you're going to learn these individuals don't play. The moment your intuition kicks in, believe me, you don't want to be around sick folks. That's true. They want to destroy you without them touching you. I experienced that, but I caught the game and flipped it. That's what's up. What can we do? We endure, we come out on the other side stronger, we self-actualize. Look it up. Yeah, I mean, there's not much we can do to fight gang stalking, especially considering that we're not even believed. Um, the only thing that we really can do is not react, endure, focus on things that you can control, and trust me. When I first heard this advice that I'm giving you, when I first heard it, and I was in like panic mode, like, oh, my life is gonna go down the drain, blah blah blah. All I could think to myself was, what an idiotic thing to say. Focus on what you can control. And then, of course, the next day on Facebook, I see this post of this truck about to hit this guy on the road. And then some guy on the sidewalks was screaming at him, focus on what you can control. So they sort of knew that, like, I had heard this the day before and it upset me. So they sent that to me. My FBI agent was on point that day. So yeah. Uh, how are you? Hey, Kia King. I'm good. Stay safe as well. Will not go to no facility because some individual decided to ruin my life. They thought I will break. Well, when I went to the facility, I had no idea what gang stalking was. I had no idea what was going on. I only went because I kept telling people what was happening to me, the directed conversation and all of that, and they just kept telling me that's impossible. You need to go see someone. So I decided, well, can't hurt. It can. I'm glad it didn't, but it can. They lose their identity. It's like dressing cops up in the same uniform. I think that what helped me the most when I went to the mental institute of my own volition. I think the first thing that helped me a lot is I went of my own volition. No one sent me. I went there. The other thing that helped me a lot is, though they said a bunch of things that really pissed me off, I never reacted. As soon as I would get angry, I would just get real quiet and be like, doesn't matter. You don't believe me, huh? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't change anything. And it did make me angry not to be believed when I went there, but I was just like, okay. I would like to leave now. So I would just get really quiet and really calm and then leave. And, one of the gifts that I was given by God is the wisdom to be quiet when I get emotional. Just say nothing, do nothing. Just chill out. Regroup. Chew on this. Everyone, I was just thinking about y'all. Glad to catch us live. Hey, we don't move in fear. How's it going? A narcissist is one who has gained and maintains their perceived personality. 7 families involved into most of us, our families are involved. It is sad, isn't it? Narcissists will do whatever it takes to protect their false identity. Gang stalkers are the biggest one. Yep, yep. They reach out to people like they are the CIA recruiting for a top secret mission, but it's just a bunch of weird, petty people with too much time on their hands. So basically, the CIA. Yeah, you're right. Um, I mean, you say they reach out to people like they are the CIA recruiting for a top secret mission. They are. They're behind this. The FBI and the CIA are behind this. I mean, that's why it's so effective. That's why it's so effective. If, you know, if my neighbor comes to me and tells me that my other neighbor is involved in nefarious activities and tries to recruit me and taking him down, I'm going to be like, bro, go to the police with that. If the highest authority of law enforcement, the federal police, comes to me and says, we've gathered information through our investigation, and starts using $50 words, and we've come to the conclusion that this person is a danger to society and we must do something, and we've come up with this plan. This is a very standard plan. Here's how you can help us, and and here is the reward program that we have when it comes to this whatever. Anyways, you guys get what I'm saying. If the highest authority known to man when it comes to law enforcement comes to you and tells you something, you're inclined to believe them, especially if you've never read a history book. If you've never, if you don't have any type of distrust of law enforcement. And really, why would you? I mean, unless you've had negative encounters with the police in the past, or history, that the CIA brought in the powder to the US to fund a war. You really have no reasons to distrust the highest level of law enforcement authority. So it is them. What is the difference between a narcissist and anyone else who is acting out their life story? I don't understand that question. I'm sorry. A narcissist has no care or empathy for anyone else. That's the difference. They cross many boundaries, even legal ones. I'm sorry, I don't understand that question, but I would like to. Systems administrator. Niccolo Machiavelli is not what he is described to be. If you study his work closely, he only put out there how to navigate this world. People, as usual, will turn a good thing to bad. I think if you read his word, it's easy to view him as not that bad. Let's look at his actions and let's talk. Hello, are you talking about narcs? Technically, sure. Yeah. I'm talking about gang stalking. Gorgeous whales. Narcissists are living dead. Yep. Regular people and harming others is not normal. That's the difference. Their life story is prank. You are right about Machiavelli. I have studied him. Most of what people quote, "It's better to be feared than loved," is out of context. It feels good doing your stuff away from narcissistic individuals. Thank you very much. You are knowledgeable. Gracie is knowledgeable. She is indeed. I did a video on Machiavelli. They want you to think you're unstable. A wise man knows he knows nothing. Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome. The part a smear campaign to you is awful. Yeah, the smear campaign is crazy. To be a grown adult and participate in something like that is just it's beyond my understanding. Is anyone else having audio problems? Are you guys having audio problems? I didn't hear anything about audio problems. You can actually fight, but fight with wisdom because they are very manipulative. So I feel like Machiavelli's information is very um, useful in that sense. You know, he teaches you how to be tactical, how to not make the mistake of playing into your enemy's hands, how to um, not overplay your hand, how to just to remember to be a tactician. You know, you cannot win a war by yourself. Um, how to pretend, how to lie when you need to, how to pretend to be an ally to someone that you may despise for as long as you need to. I personally think that Machiavelli is intelligent. Perhaps I'll inform myself more on Machiavelli. My current opinion when it comes to his actions is that Machiavelli was not a good person. Um, I'll inform myself and we'll talk more. Before I became a victim, I would have trusted 100%. Yeah. When people try to expose human, the accuser are targeted by media as them receiving foreign funds. Yeah. I still think it's really crazy how we have all these stories coming out accusing celebrities and you know the elites of this world of insane crimes. No one's talking about it unless you go looking for it online. You won't hear about it in you know mainstream media. I'm sorry. English is not my first language. I snitched to the police about a ring at a Motel 6, not realizing the ring belonged to the police, and it's been like this ever since then. Oof. I cannot imagine being in your position. You know, there was a documentary called Cognitive Liberty, Mind Control, where there was a lady that basically said the same thing, almost the same thing you said. She was saying that there was a dealer living on her street and she called the police on him, and the police never did anything, but she kept calling over and over and over, and the police never did anything. They never busted him or anything like that. And then that's when her gang stalking began. And it was only after that she realized that these dealers are working with the police. And it's something that we're shocked to realize that if they have the technology to do what they do to us, then they certainly have the technology to arrest any criminal involved in criminal activity. If they're not arresting them, what does that tell you? Because like I said, when it comes to the powder that was imported to the US from Central America back in the 80s, it was brought here by secret intelligence agencies. I don't have a plane. Do you? So, and even if you look at these whistleblowers like John McAfee, John McAfee said that he put a spyware virus on all of the computers. I believe it was in the Department of Defense, something like that. He donated some laptops because he was the founder of McAfee antivirus, which was one of the most popular antivirus. He donated some laptops to the Department of Defense, and these laptops were had pre-installed spyware. And he said he was looking to find out who was targeting him in the government. And he said, I didn't find that information, but what I did find out is that our government are the biggest participant in trafficking of all kinds. And then, very shortly after, he was unalived in a prison cell in Spain, South America, a Spanish-speaking country. And then his condo was building 7. And I'm going to ask you to take a wild guess on who came to, pick up the pieces and investigate the destruction of his Miami condo. Who was it? Was it the firefighters? Was it the local PD? Was it the CIA? Was it the FBI? All right, guys. I want you guys to answer this. John McAfee whistle blew on the government being participating in trafficking of all kinds. He was later found unalived, which they deemed a self-unaliving while he was in a prison, and his condo in Miami destroyed. Who do you think came to investigate after that happened? A, the fire department, local fire department. B, the local PD, police department. C, the CIA. D, the FBI. Give me your answers. A, B, C, or D. Again, the answers are A, local fire department. B, local police department. C, the CIA. D, the FBI. What do you think? So Believer says C and D, the CIA and the FBI. Okay. We Don't Move in Fear says C, the CIA. Brian Renard Davis, I'm going to take you on that offer if I'm ever in Mississippi. I want to eat some of you guys' southern food. VJ says the CIA. All right, I'm gonna wait for like 2 more answers before I tell you what the answer is. What do we got? Come on. Again, A, the local fire department. B, the local police department. C, the CIA. D, the FBI. Who is it? Who is it? Who was it? Anybody? Anybody? One more answer, and I'll give you the actual answer. One more try. Local police. VJ says local police. All right. The truth is you're all wrong. That was a trick question. The people who came to investigate his death, well, not his death, but the destruction of his Miami condo. Now, Miami, Florida, right? The people who came to investigate his Miami, Florida condo were the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. And if you Google that, if you Google it, Google will tell you that John McAfee did not have a condo in Miami, Florida. But his bodyguard would tell you different. His bodyguard would tell you, no, he did have a condo. And, you know, I used to follow him. I don't follow him anymore because he's racist. But yeah, it was the IDF. The mayor of Miami was very gracious in thanking the IDF for their help. It was the IDF. What? Why is everybody saying wow? What is that weird? Is that strange? What's weird about that? Uh. uh, mm, mm, not surprising, eh? Maybe we just live in a strange time when people can connect in secret over the internet like never before. Average people can learn how to hack and can access all sorts of spying devices. You don't think of foreign countries taking interest like that. Yeah. You know they train ICE, right? You guys know that, right? The Immigration and Customs Enforcement, they're trained by the IDF. Let's see what Google says about that. Because Google's a reliable source. Says the IDF is the military that trains its own conscripts, officers, and reserve forces. If the question refers to whether the IDF trains others, it frequently engages in international training and intelligence cooperation with foreign nations, though allegations that it trains U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, are widely disputed. They do. Ay, ay, ay. It's been 2 hours and a half. I think we should end it here. Did you guys hear about the white Americans driving around with Mexican flags on their cars to distract ICE? Oh, that's funny. That's very funny. Ice fishing. I like a good joke. I love a good joke. I love a good joke. Hey, it is what it is, eh? All right. On that note, I'm gonna head off. It was nice talking to you. It was nice getting some things off my chest. I hope you guys got some things off your chest as well. I hope you guys are doing good. Um, I'm gonna go edit a video so I can put something out tomorrow. Let's see. What will it be? I'll tell you right now what it's gonna be. It's going to be Laura, the black one, not the Mexican one. I'm going to edit Laura's video. Laura from the UK. I think I was at part 5 of her interview. I'm gonna do part 6. I think. Yeah, I was at part 5. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Stay safe. Stay positive. Stay healthy. Try to focus on positive things. Focus on how to make your life better, how to keep your life good. Walaikum salam, Gracie. And yeah, as I always say, always remember, you deserve grace. You deserve mercy. Even if they don't think you do, even if they vilify you, you deserve grace. You deserve mercy. You are no different than anyone. Love yourself. Take care, guys.